everyone, my name is Tatsai Gods, and I will finally be doing Apollo, the Greek god of music today. So, talking about his difficulty, he is easy, and I tend to agree with this. The only thing that will be difficult is the reliability on the auto attacks, but as you use Apollo, you'll find he gets easier and a lot funner. His pros: he is a great split pusher, and that comes from his high mobility, and as well he has great disruption for boxing, so let's get into that right now. For his passive, he has Audacity, and that is after 10 successful basic attacks, Apollo gains Audacity, attacking with both hands and increasing his attack speed by 100% for the next 5 basic attacks, hit or miss, he makes. So basically, you need to hit anything, as long as you hit something, that is an objective, enemy minion, enemy god, anything like that. As long as you hit something 10 times, as long as it's successful, he will get a buff called Audacity, and what that does is it attacks his attack speed by 100%, and that's it. But it will only increase your attack speed for 5 basic attacks, and this is hit or miss. So yeah, be careful with this, but it gives him a lot of utility, lots of uses, and it is great for boxing. If you do find yourself in a situation where you have to box the enemy hunter, this will help you 100%. If you have it up and the enemy hunter is trying to box you, that is his mistake. He needs to be looking at your animations and see if you have Audacity up or not, because about 75% of the time you will win if you have Audacity on. The only way you would lose is if you got stunned and you had no chance of doing anything. So yeah, Audacity, great passive, probably the best, one of the best in the hunter role. Next, Apollo strums a single chord on his lyre. It's so beautiful, it hurts, and all enemies in a long-range line take damage. Successive enemies take 15% reduced damage, and this is probably one of the reasons why Apollo wasn't seen picked up in the beginning of Season 2. He is now, and that is great, because he is such a great and fun god. So the damage is from 80 to 300. It's not that big, but the scaling is really good. That's 80% of his physical power, so that's kind of why you saw people picking up his the one build where it was Heartseeker build. That build is probably out with him now because of the changes to the game. So yes, so that's so beautiful. That is your main lane clear, and if it does not build Audacity though, and it will deal successively less damage each hit, but it does pass through everything. That includes walls, player deployables, etc. Next is Serenade. So this is a mesmerize, so keep that in mind, that it actually doesn't stun them, and any damage done will break the effect. Apollo uses his amazing voice to mesmerize all nearby enemies and bolster himself with additional physical protection, and that is up to 50 physical protections, and this is huge, especially for objectives. That is towers, phoenixes, gold fury, fire giant, whatever have you. This will help you probably like 100% of the time, as long as you have it up. You can choose to use it when you're as soon as you start tanking up the objective, or you could use it when you're going for an objective and there's an enemy god there. Then you have to use this to stop them from coming near you, whatever, you know. So good uses off of Serenade. I'll get into that when we go into the jungle. But next is the moves. So this is a main escape and initiate. So let's take a look. Apollo runs forward and slides on his knees, dealing damage, knocking aside all enemies, and adding a stack of Audacity for each enemy hit. At the end of the slide, the movement speed is decreased for enemies and increased for himself and allies. So in the targeter, there is a line, and it is a pretty wide line, so don't worry about not hitting anyone, whatever. You shouldn't really be using it for damage anyways. So at the end of that line, there's a circle, and in that circle, Anyone in the circle will be either buffed or debuffed on their movement speed based on if they're allies or enemies, whatever. And yeah, anyone who's actually hit from the first part of his dash though will be knocked aside, and that will add a stack of Audacity. Keep that in mind. And next is Across the Skies. Oh wait, before I'm gonna talk about this, so yeah, if you want to use this as escape, it's pretty good. It can be interrupted though, and it's kind of slow, to be honest. It could be caught by a Athena taunt really easily, but as well, if you use it to initiate, you want to use the moves, the Serenade, and So Beautiful in that order. Lastly is Across the Skies. Apollo rides his chariot across the sky, choosing when to land, dealing damage every 0.2 seconds for 0.8 seconds as he lands. That's 4 ticks of 70 to 170 plus 30% scaling. So this is what makes Apollo Apollo. It gives him his split push utility, and uses this to really split the team apart if you think about it. So let me give you this situation. There's a 4v5 enemy fight or team fight going on, and you're at the enemy Phoenix. You're about to take their Phoenix. One person has to disengage from the fight to watch you, because you could just walk right into their base and do a ton of damage on their Titan. Just wait for another wave, end the game. So if you think about it, someone has to go back to guard you, and by doing that, it is effectively a 4v4. Now, as soon as you see that they backed, use Across the Sky, go to where they were fighting. Now it's effectively a 5v4. So what it does is really splits the team apart. Now instead of having a 4v5 in their favor, now it's a 5v4 in your favor. It's kind of like that. So yeah. As well, it can be used to get them out of sticky situations. If you're trying to split push and you don't really have wards, this is your go-to thing. You want to use Serenade. Definitely don't try not to injure anyone. Like, don't use So Beautiful on anyone because it's just a mesmerize. Don't use the moves on anyone because it's just a mesmerize. But you can use the moves, you just have to use it away from them because this will damage them, right? So yeah, use Serenade and then use Across the Skies, because 2.3 seconds at max rank is huge, and then this will take quite a bit to gear up, and then he gets into the sky. And talking about that, if you die before becoming untargetable, the ability doesn't go off on cooldown. Just a thing to keep in mind. But you can die in the air due to dots. So another thing is careful with mana consumption. This does a lot. 10 plus 60 per second. This is huge, especially early game, and you'll see late game people will actually pick up mana pots. Why do you pick up mana pots, you say? Because it will restore 200 of your mana every, 200 mana over the duration of the mana pot, right? So as soon as you use that, Across the Skies effect will be cut down a little bit by 200 mana and gives you a little bit more mana to use when you land. So yeah, let's get right into jungle practice.
Apollo!
And pick Apollo.
Another performance already.
Here,
I guess they
you'll
can't get
pick
enough
up
of
your
me.
Death's Toll, Devour's Gauntlet 1, and Health Potion. So what's the reasoning behind the starter item Death's Toll? Following the Bluestone Pendant nerf and all that, even before that, Death's Toll was the go-to item for Apollo, has been, probably always will be, just because of its passive. So hitting an enemy with a basic attack restores 6 health and 1 mana. So if you have max stacks of Audacity there, you will be doing, you will have 5 shots, correct? And 5 shots at, I believe it's somewhere like 100% of this speed already. That will do 6 HP per hit and then 1 mana. So 6 HP for 5 hits is 30 HP. And then 1 mana per hit for 5 hits is 5 HP. So does tons of it. He can use Death's Toll probably the best, especially early game, and you'll want to pick this up almost 100% of the time. After that though, you'll want to pick up it's Warrior Tabby, Ikavul, the Executioner, Rage, and Deathbringer. So why do you pick up Warrior Tabby? So the reason why you will pick up Warrior Tabby is just because the overcap for any god is 2.5 attack speed, correct? So even with the Warrior Tabby, if you have Audacity available, you will cap at 2.5. And that is, you'd rather have it capped out at 2.5 with the additional 20 physical power than have it with only 20 physical power. So in that way, much better than Ninja Tabby, and that is why I would want to pick it up instead of the Ninja Tabby. Didn't get that. So you saw there I used my dash. It doesn't leave anything behind like a Cupid thing or something like that, but yeah. Here's the Mesmerize. Looks like this little thing, has a little bubble around it, nice effects, and then behind the wall and stuff like that. So I'll be teaching you here what you want to really do on the wave as soon as my cooldowns go off. See there, he has the additional movement speed up to 5. Okay, so you'll be right here, minion wave meets. What you want to do is actually build your Audacity stack on the first 3, and use your lyre on the last 3. So why is that? And that is because of the debuff that was put on So Beautiful. So successive enemies do take 15% reduced damage. What does that mean for us? That means that you'll be doing less damage every single time you hit more people with his ability. So what you want to do is hit people with less and then finish them off. Hopefully your minions won't be taking your stacks, but that'll be fine. 75 and you could get it pretty quickly, no big deal. So finishing off here, I'll be showing you what you really want when you encounter an enemy god. Just get full things here. So let's say there's an enemy god over here, and you want to engage. Yeah! So like that, auto attack to death basically. And let's say, I'd say 50% of the time you'll get them down to half, maybe even less. Just because Apollo has that kind of surprise thing. Surprise, really. That's just what it is. Yeah! You don't expect the guy to go right through the wave. And that's what he does, really. He just goes right through the wave. And then before you can react and use like something like a spirit arrow to stop him in his tracks, use a Serenade on you, and then you won't be able to hit him. And then he'll use So Beautiful on you, and hopefully by then he'll have his Audacity. That's what's really strong about Apollo, is his aggressiveness. He can be so aggressive, but he can also play pretty passive, which is good. So again, I'd like to show you here that the moves affect Audacity. You can see there it was built by 3 because I hit those 3 minions. So lastly, let's just give you a shot here. That's what it looks like. You have a nice little targeter. This will do damage. You could use that to chase enemy gods. You could use that to split push. Has a lot of utility on it. Can be used for a lot of things. So yeah, I'm gonna walk over to Rawbot over here. Just show you what you'll want to do. So say you see the Raw coming out of the jungle, he doesn't see you, and you dash towards him to get the jump on him. One shot. One shot is all it takes, although he doesn't have any items built. One shot is all it takes. Yeah, that is usually what you'll want to do. Either dash to the target as one, or just if you're waiting for it. If you don't have dash down, then you could literally just walk up to them like this. But I wouldn't really suggest that. It's kind of dangerous to do stuff like that, and you're kind of a walking target when you do that. Talking about Serenade, if you recall, it will give you 50 physical protections at max rank. So right here I'm gonna let So let's look at the first time he hit me. Fire Giant hit Tatsai Gods for 106 damage. Then I popped my Serenade. Fire Giant hit Tatsai Gods for 86 damage. See how much was mitigated? 20 damage. That is huge, especially when it lasts for 5 seconds. If he hit me for an additional 3 times, then I will have saved 80 damage instead of just 20. So that's really like life and death almost, especially when you're talking about crits and stuff like that. It's life and death. So when you're boxing too, if you have this on, it gives you the physical protections, and all hunters do physical damage, so it's good against hunters as well. So Apollo is really good at what he does, and I'm really glad that he came back, and I'm glad that I took the time to actually learn him, because I didn't know how to learn him, and I decided to save this guide for last, because Apollo is a really good character when you learn about him. Like, I used to suck at him, and just experimented with him a little bit, you know, watched a few streams, and then you learn 3, 2, all of a sudden you're like 7-0 just because you're playing Apollo and you know what to do as Apollo. So yeah, if you haven't tried Apollo yet, he is coming back in the meta, so if you're an ADC, you're gonna want to know how to use Apollo, especially if you play ranked and stuff like that. He'll be probably first pick, one of the first picked, either than Neath. He's a little weaker than Neath, but he's still up there. He's around S rank, but Neath is S+ rank, so yeah. But that'll be it for me. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please drop a like, favorite, and subscribe.